I'm Dr. Sharda Jain. Today I'm going to talk on the changing the HPV landscape with single India vaccine, CERVAVAC. And this is the joint recommendation of North India Gynecologist Forum, North India Pediatric Association, as well as DGF. These are the stalwarts which on 15th of August made a big decision with stalwarts who worked for a single HPV vaccine for WHO. Here I wish to tell you, illusion of knowledge is the greatest enemy. It's not the ignorance which is enemy, but I know is the biggest enemy of gaining the knowledge. So come with an open mind and listen to me what I'm saying. HPV infection in India is around 6 to 10%. And we all know that the protection from HPV vaccination against various cancers and warts is there, virtually for all cancers and cases. Out of this, cervical cancer is the most deadly cancer. It is often referred as silent killer and almost 100% preventable cancer. It's very unfortunate that on 16th of October, former Miss World, Sharda Jain, died at the age of 26 from cervical cancer. She was battling for this disease for the last 2 years. Very unfortunate when we know this cancer is 100% preventable. She was not alone. Jade Serisa Lorraine Goody, again a very famous English reality television personality, also lost her life at the age of 28. She came in 2009 here in India to spread awareness of cancer cervix. She went on boat along the Ganges to spread awareness among the gynecologists and the public. Another personality, Janet Howard. She was the wife of John Howard, the second longest serving Australian Prime Minister. This lady had cervical cancer. The gentleman came public. If my wife can have cervical cancer, what will happen to the other Australian people? And she and her husband started HPV vaccination for all adolescents and young adults for cervical cancer in Australia, and now Australia is on the verge of getting declared as cervical cancer free. In spite of being 100% preventable, cervical cancer burden is increasing. The new cases projected in 2030 are 7 lakhs, and out of this it is expected that 4 lakhs will die. Whenever you see this picture, imagine 200 female passengers are crashing every day in India, because this is exactly the number we are losing every day because of cervical cancer in India. This is preventable. Death occurs every 8 minutes. I repeat again, every 8 minutes a woman loses her battle to cervical cancer, which is preventable. Do not let it happen to you or your daughter. HPV vaccine is very safe, highly effective, to the tune of 98 to 100% in preventing cervical precancer and cancer. WHO Director General Dr. Tedros, seeing the results in Australia and other European countries, the inner call came to him that we can eliminate cervical cancer as a public health problem through intensified vaccination against HPV, screening and treatment in low and middle income countries as well. So he gave a call of 90-70-90, where the vision of a world where cervical cancer is eliminated as a public health problem. The threshold of 4 per 1 lakh woman years for elimination as a public health problem was a set a goal. the following 90, 70, 90 targets that must be met by 2030 for countries to be on the path towards cervical cancer elimination. 90% girls should be fully vaccinated with HPV vaccine by age 15 years, and the government should take the responsibility. 70% of women need to be screened with high performance test by age 35 and again by 45 years of age. And 90% women identified with cervical disease should receive treatment of pre-invasive cancer so they do not progress to invasive cancer. You'll be surprised to know what is the current HPV vaccination in India. Less than 1% are vaccinated, and this is National Family Health Survey 2019-2021. So you can see here what is the Indian scenario. The vaccination is less than 0.1%, the screening is 3%, and 10% doctors are trained to treat pre-cancer cervical lesions. As you see in the Western world, they are very close to the real destination. 50 to 90% are vaccinated, 80 to 90% of the developed world are screened. They have been working on it for the last 60 to 65 years, and 80 to 90% doctors are well trained. Challenge in HPV vaccination is that it is expensive, it requires multiple doses, there's always shortage of vaccine supply in low and middle income group, and that's why it's not included in the national immunization program as yet, including India. The 2-dose vaccination program for adolescents is logistically more complex, more expensive, and less resilient. WHO study shows only 13% received second dose in adolescent national immunization program, and almost 150 countries were looked into as far as the details were concerned. So WHO called SAGE. These are the experts who recommended HPV vaccine dose schedule in 2022. 1 or 2 dose schedule for the primary targets of girls and boys aged 9 to 14 years, 1 or 2 dose schedule for younger adolescent women and men aged 15 to 20 years, and 2 doses with 6 months interval for women and men older than 20 years. Immunocompromised individuals, including those with HIV, should receive 3 doses if feasible, and if not, at least 2 doses. And then also, no promise should be given that they will be protecting them to the tune of 98 to 100%. No. Protection from a single dose of HPV vaccination is definitely going to have a major public health impact, according to the WHO SAGE experts. The evidence for single dose HPV vaccination are very strong growing evidence that effect similar to 3 and 2 doses could be achieved with single dose of HPV vaccination. What effect was seen with 3 doses or 2 doses can be achieved with single dose of HPV vaccination. The results from cohort studies, IARC India trial with the quadrivalent vaccine and Costa Rica trial with bivalent vaccine have shown comparable efficacy between single dose and multiple dose schedule with sustained antibody levels for at least 11 years after vaccination. Recent evidence from randomized single-dose vaccine trial has been done with other newer vaccines in sub-Saharan Africa. What they found was antibody titers in a single-dose recipient was 15 times higher than the natural immunity. This was for HPV 16. HPV 18 antibody response at 10 years was also found that antibody titer in a single dose recipient was 10 times higher than the natural immunity. Look at this particular slide and do not forget it. 10 years trend in neutralizing antibody against HPV 16 and 18 maintained the levels much higher than the natural immunity. So, as far as this adolescent girl is concerned, the picture is very rosy. A dose one dose HPV for 9 to 14 years is as good as two doses for 9 to 14 years. And now it is the choice of the government and the experts to decide what they want to do. WHO SAGE experts continued their work between 9 to 20 years, and they again found one dose HPV vaccine from 9 to 20 girls is as good as two doses for girls between 9 to 20 years. So this kind of poster should be there in your clinics, where shows that बिटियों के कैंसर के बचाने के लिए वैक्सीन 9 to 20 years के लिए एक टीका and 20 years plus के लिए दो टीके HPV वैक्सीन हमारे यहाँ उपलब्ध है. Now gynecologists and pediatricians and the top experts had to take a bold steps, and that is why on the 15th of August, great day for our country, the expert meeting of stalwarts of North India Gynecologist Forum, Delhi Gynecologist Forum, and North India Academy of Pediatrician experts met. The call for action was that the policy maker globally should introduce HPV vaccination 1 or 2 doses for girls as recommendation by WHO. Vaccine manufacturers have to ensure the quality vaccine for the public in low-income and middle-income countries. And immunization program managers should assess strategies to improve HPV vaccination coverage for adolescent girls with one dose schedule. Adequate supply of a new vaccine will be a huge step to accelerate cervical vaccination in low income and a middle income group globally. The launch of indigenous vaccine in India was there in September 2022, and it is available freely in the market from 1/8/23. Single dose of low-cost HPV vaccination is going to be a big game changer, because with this, government will be able to reach out to more and more adolescent girls. NDTV said this vaccine made in India, HPV vaccine, may be considered for immunization. The center is very strongly doing it. And now school-based program have started in 7 states in country, where 2-dose vaccination will be given in 3 states, that is Chhattisgarh, Karnataka, and Maharashtra, while 1 dose will be given in 4 states, that is Mizoram, Tamil Nadu, Uttarakhand, and Himachal Pradesh. We need a political will to give extensive coverage of HPV vaccine to adolescent girls. Failure to do so is an injustice to generation of girls and young women who may be at risk of cervical cancer, says the WHO Deputy Director. It shows that if we start the work today, the WHO experts feel that today in India it stands around 12, and in good 50 years' time, we will reach the level of WHO elimination threshold of 4 per lakh cases. 3 doses for all immunocompromised individuals is recommended, including HIV, and there also it should not be promised that it will bring good results. Landmark meeting on a single HPV vaccination was held on 15/8 in our country. Top experts and stalwarts and 850 members joined the meeting, and both experts from a gynecologist forum and pediatric experts were there and party to it. WHO Assistant Director Dr. Princess Nothamba Nono commented, "I firmly believe the elimination of cervical cancer is possible with single-dose HPV vaccination for adolescents." And WHO expert Dr. Neerja Batla, Dr. Shankar Narayan feel the same. And then the stalwarts of North India Gynecologist Forum accepted that this single-dose recommendation has the potential to take us fast vaccinated by the age 15 by 2030. What about India's first indigenous quadrivalent vaccine? Is it equal to Gardasil 4? CERVAVAC is gender-neutral HPV vaccine. One dose for both girls and boys up to 20 years should be considered for prevention of cervical cancer. There's a big new hope if gynecologists, pediatricians, general practitioners, nurses, and public seriously work for cervical cancer, Mukt Bharat. Thank you very much for patient listening.